how to wrap your handlebars with new handlebar tape to make it look like it's been done by a professional and not some amateur mechanic, and which color do you use, white, brown, black, red, also which brand. Keep watching because I'm gonna take you through all the steps on how to best wrap your handlebars. Good morning, look at this. It's so silky smooth. Oh, that's so good. The plan today, I'm gonna get out on a bike ride. I'm meeting my friend Marcus and David. I should be enjoying this winter day. Then I'm gonna show you the basics and the perfect way to wrap your handlebars with handlebar tape. There are many bad ways out there. I'm gonna show you the perfect way. First, the bike ride. Okay, I'm ready. It takes so long to prepare for a bike ride in the winter weather. You gotta have everything you need because it's cold outside. Gotta go. It's cold out there. But the thing is, at least in the winter, it's just a matter about getting out there on your bike and doing something. It's about 5 degrees out there today in Celsius. 3 hours for 51 kilometers. It's not very far. And Marcus had the flat tire. He's on tubeless tires. He tried plugging it, didn't work. He had to call his wife. She came to pick him up. But David and I continued. Great ride. So let's talk about putting new handlebar tape on your bicycle and everything else you need to know about doing that job. But first, so what does it take to wrap your handlebar tapes? Well, it's pretty basic. It's easy. In fact, I find it easy and I do it all the time by myself. I see a lot of people riding around with handlebars that look like it was wrapped by some amateur mechanic, and it's just wrong. It's something you can do at your own house. You pick your color. Do you like brown? Do you like black, red, or white? Which is your favorite color? Drop some comments down below and tell me. I'm gonna be wrapping, you guessed it, white today. So let's get down there. One second. So let's get down to the workshop and let me show you how to wrap handlebars properly. Okay, it's simple. First you need a hammer. No, just kidding. First you get your bike on the bike stand. We're gonna start by taking off the old handlebar tape. Hold on, you hear that? Check this out. The joys of living in Italy, church bells ringing at all hours of the day. So after we get off the handlebar tape, then we can put on the new handlebar tape, and I'll walk you through the steps. Fold back the rubber on the top of your brake hoods. If your handlebar tape has been on there for a long time, it may stick to the bars and come off in pieces when you're trying to unravel it. See these end caps? You need to get a screwdriver or something to pop them off with. A quick word on the Shimano. If you have the Shimano Di2 electronic shifting and the control box is in the handlebars, you want to pull it out the same way, but be very careful. Stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to go over my favorite colors, the best colors, and the best brands to put on your bike. Bars are clean now. Hold just one second. What you want to do, grab some electrical tape. If you have any wires, cables outside the handlebars, it's a good idea to wrap some electrical tape around them and tape them down before you start wrapping the handlebars. So now we're ready to wrap the handlebars. Now here's some key information, so pay attention. First, start at the bar ends, not up near the stem when you're wrapping the tape. The other thing, wrap from the outside in like this when you start, and that's gonna be important later when we arrive up here, and I'll explain why. The final thing of this first part, leave enough overhanging so you can fold the remainder in. Then you take your bar end and you push it in, tucking in the rest, because that will hold everything nice in place and make it look professional. Another note, your handlebar tape comes with this sticky backing. So as you go, don't peel it off all in one go because it'll start sticking to places you don't want it to stick to. Peel it off as you wrap the handlebar tape, and watch me, I'll show you how. Don't be afraid of ripping the tape. Put tension on the tape, pull the tape tight as you're wrapping it. Also, overlap a third of the tape that you already wrapped as you're working your way up. See, I'm peeling off the back of this sticky tape as I go. Putting tension on the tape, pulling it tight. Now when we get to these curves in the handlebars, the sexy curves in the handlebars, you're obviously gonna overlap more here on the inside and less on the outside. Just make sure on the outside, on the outer part of the curve, you're overlapping the last third of the handlebar tape you already wrapped. Okay, many might think this is the tricky junction here right behind the brake hood. Some prefer to do a figure 8 pattern wrapping around there, hold on, and not use this extra piece that comes with the handlebar tape. I don't do the figure 8, I use this extra piece. Don't pull off this sticky back yet. We want to do a practice dry run and wrap it around here. See the part here that shows? And you'll get the part down here on the opposite side at an angle. So down here it's on the lower part, over here it's on the high upper part. That shows. You can't reach it when you're wrapping the handlebar tape. So you take this extra piece, you put it on there. So on the outside we want to cover the high section and wrap it around the inside and cover the low section. So unwrap this, we're gonna fit this back there, covering the high section over here and the low section over there. So then when we wrap, you're gonna just see white. It's gonna look great. What I've done is I measured and cut this extra piece, butts right up against to the plastic of the hood. I don't wanna overlapping that hood because otherwise when I fold down this rubber part to protect the hood, it's gonna create a bigger bump and we don't want that. Here we go, low on the inside up to high on the outside. And there's enough sticky on that to hold that in place while I wrap the handlebar tape up and over it. But you just gotta continue to pull it tight, keep moving with the handlebars, and if you wanna try to do a dry run first, don't pull off the sticky backing, do a dry run, then when you're ready, pull off the sticky backing, pull it tight, and wrap it. Here's where it gets controversial. Make sure you have enough tape to get to the point where you wanna stop on the handlebars. I've measured it out. I'm going at 4.6 centimeters from the stem to the end of the handlebar tape. That's important because on the other side I'll use the same measurement. It's gonna look symmetrical. But the controversial part is how we finish this off. We're gonna cut the tape at a diagonal line so it's wrapped around perfectly all around and then wait for it. I should mention at this point, as you go along, as you're wrapping the handlebar tape, always go back and check and make sure everything is okay and everything's covered well, because once you get up here it's too far and you're using the back with that sticky sided tape, it's going to be nasty to go back and redo it. So always inspect as you're going along. So what I did is I marked a line on the tape where I want it to end before it gets up to the stem. Then when it was wrapped around the bars, I drew a line that was perpendicular to the ground, running all the way around the bars. So we're gonna get this line here, and I'm gonna continue drawing it straight across, following the marking that I made, and then I'm gonna cut on that line. I'm cutting right on the inside of that line that I drew, so the line doesn't show when we wrap the handlebar tape, and cut in one long swish so it looks nice and straight. This pointy end here, just cut it off a little bit so you're left with just a little piece like that. And now we're ready to finish the wrapping. We're gonna pull off the rest of that backing tape, wrap it all the way around. I've already got a little piece of electrical tape ready. I'm gonna put that on the end and just hold it in place after I get it to that final wrapping point. And bonus points if the tape wrapping ends on the underside of the handlebars. Now you could really do with some thin electrical tape like this, not the wide kind. This looks to be maybe 3/4 of an inch wide, or about, it says 1500, maybe it's 1.5 centimeters wide. I'm gonna wrap it around the handlebar, not thick or anything, and I'm gonna leave a little bit of the end of the handlebar tape showing, a little bit of white. Okay, that's it. See how I left a little bit of white of the handlebar tape outside that electrical tape? That's perfect. That's why you need a thinner electrical tape, because on the outside of this, and this is the controversial part, we're going to use the decal. I'm using the Data decal. I'm putting it over the electrical tape. The electrical tape is holding it in place. The sticky side, the back sticky side of the handlebar tape, it's super strong. It holds it in place as well, so you don't need much electrical tape on there. Don't wrap it around with a whole bunch of electrical tape that's going off into the handlebars. It's later just gonna move around and cause a bunch of stickiness when you're out there on a bike ride. You don't want that. So you have this nice smooth white edge around the handlebar tapes, and then we're gonna finish it off with this stuff. So doing the dry run like that will help you determine where you start the decal, and so you know it ends on the underside. That's it. Press it smoothly down When you put it on, you don't want to stretch it. And also when you put it on, you cover up your electrical tape and you leave that little white strip there because that looks beautiful. I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, hey, what about that decal? It's not sticking there tight. It looks loose. Well, I got the secret. You take a hair dryer to it, heat it up just gently, and it just shrink wraps around the handlebars. You want to hit it with some gentle heat so it slowly shrinks around the handlebars. It's perfect. I'm going to finish wrapping the other side of the handlebar tape. Then I'm going to take you through putting in the end plugs and folding back the brake hoods. And then I'm going to explain why we wrapped in the direction which we wrapped. You fold back down the brake hoods and you should have enough wrap around there so everything's nice and covered. The final thing you want to do is put the end cap into the bars, and we should have enough overhanging here that we fold it in, and you take this so the logo's on the outside and you punch it in. You just squeeze it in there. That's perfect right there. Now if you have Shimano STI shifters and you have that electronic box that goes in there, you push it in the same way. So the final thing, why did we wrap in the direction we wrapped? You start at the end of the bars and you wrap towards the inside, wrapping your way up. Because up here at the top, and I see many, even World Tour riders, their handlebars are wrapped in the wrong direction. Now at the top, they're wrapped like this towards you. That way when your hands are on here, because your hands have a tendency to pull back, like you're pulling the throttle on a motorbike. So this way your hands are naturally always tightening up the bar tape. If it was the other way around, your hands would always be loosening the bar tape. You have the sticky sided bar tape, you have the electrical tape, you have the decoration label tape. But this is an added bonus right there. You're always pulling in the direction, always making it tight. I'm gonna get back up in the house, talk about brands, talk about colors, but this rotation right there, that's what makes a perfectly wrapped handlebar tape. Look at this, I'm gonna show you something. If you ever had this happen, the rail on your saddle is snapped. Come on, Selle Italia, what happened with that? All right, let's talk about color theory. What color handlebar tape do you use on your bike? I asked you before. Well, I have a theory on what you should use. Hold on. Who drank all the wine? One of those nights. I'm drinking out of a regular glass, no wine glass. That'll have to do. Salute, as we say in Italy. Color theory. My theory is the handlebar tape should match the saddle or vice versa. I have a white saddle, I use white handlebar tape. You saw my white, broken, expensive Selle Italia saddle there. Now I'm using an old Selle Italia saddle, very old. It matches my white handlebar tape, or I chose white handlebar tape to match my white saddle. That's my theory. Another theory. Way back in the day, one of my first road bikes was a Klein. It was all blue with this yellow lettering. I chose yellow handlebar tape. I think I had a blue saddle back in the day. Once I had an orange bike. I had orange and white Cinelli handlebar tape with these orange and white sprinkles. Red handlebar tape I've used, but I've never used black. I don't think I've ever used black handlebar tape. Are you people out there fans of black handlebar tape? Who out there uses black handlebar tape? I know the theory. It's easier to keep clean, but the dirt's still on there. You just don't see it. With my handlebar tape white, I know it's clean when it's clean. All right, now let's talk about brands. Let's talk about brands. Do you go with the classics, Cinelli or Data? I've used Cinelli in the beginning, now you always use Data. I knew one of the guys that worked there, and I've always been faithful to Data. You saw my Data handlebar, Data stem. Always use Data. I like Data. It has a nice, it's not cork, it's synthetic, but it stretches well. It looks good. There are other brands out there. Physique makes nice brands. Supercaz and Pro Race, all good brands. And do you wrap your own handlebar tape, or do you leave it to the mechanics, and how good of a job do they do? Let me know down in the comments. But I always prefer wrapping my own handlebar tape. I don't want to leave it to some amateur mechanic that wraps electrical tape all around it and it just looks like gobbledygook out there. No. I love doing it myself. I love wrapping my own handlebar tape and having it look perfect.